Good evening all, and welcome to our new Oud Nieuw event of the Introduction Program 2020. It sounds like a bit weird that we're doing the Introduction Program at this moment, but since we did have a different program in our summer, we'd like to have a new event for you in this, dark times of the year. We're happy that you've chosen to participate with us with the cooking event and the quiz. On behalf of my team, I would like to welcome you. We do have 2 dishes to cook, and you've chosen before what you would like to cook or not, and we will take you through that menu. This could not have happened without the help of a few departments of the university, like the facility management people and the people that do food on campus, and of course the Jumbo that helped us out with spreading the ingredients, and also Bourgogne, who's putting us live to you tonight. I would like to introduce to you the crew of the introduction program, who's really happy to be here for you tonight. We've got Matab in the kitchen. Matab, say hi to the camera.
Hello.
We have Sebastian.
Hi.
And we have Sarah.
Hi.
And we're really excited to do this. So let's go into the kitchen and see what's cooking tonight.
Okay, let's begin. Yes, we are extremely excited to do this. As Mario said, we are preparing 2 dishes. One of the dishes has a vegetarian variation. And with the help of Jumbo, yesterday we managed to deliver some packages to some of our students. We unfortunately couldn't do that for everyone because of the COVID regulations. But I hope that you could buy all the ingredients based on our description in the website and the stories that we shared on our Instagram. So I will be making the butternut scotch stampot, and Sebastian, what are you making?
I'm making the roti with chicken, which also has a vegetarian version with chickpeas that you might also have received yesterday in the Jumbo.
Okay, great. So we are going to begin. Of course, we already washed our hands and we have our hand sanitizers at hand, and in every step we are washing the vegetables and our cutting board and our knives, so we suggest that you do the same at home. I will be starting by cutting my butternut squash. And here is a butternut squash, if you didn't know what it looks like. And it's a bit of a tricky vegetable to cut. Actually, this is going to be the hardest part of this particular dish. So what you want to do is start to cut it from the middle. Then you would have 2 bases in order to cut from. Then you can put it more stable on your cutting board. So what is the first thing you're going to do, Sebastian?
First thing I'm going to do is actually washing my vegetables. So the vegetables that are needed for the roti are the sweet potato, potatoes, onions, and tomatoes, and green peas. Also, the garlic and the bay leaf. But we are mostly concerned about cutting these vegetables.
Why are we concerned about it?
Yeah, we are concerned about it because we are using a knife, so it takes time, and you have to be careful always with a knife.
That is always true. And if you want your cutting board to be stable, you can just use a kitchen towel. You can make it wet and put it underneath your cutting board. Then it's nice and stable, and you would not risk cutting your hands. And always rest the blade against your knuckles instead of putting your fingers on the way of the knife. So it will be much easier to cut. Like I said, the butternut squash is a bit of a difficult vegetable, but after you're done with this stage, it's all smooth sailing from there. I think Sebastian is starting from tomatoes, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I'm going to wash first my vegetables, and then I will start cutting them.
Okay. Mario already washed my butternut squash, so I am thankful for that. Also, if you are worried about wasting your peelings, you actually don't have to worry, because you can use them in making vegetable stocks or soup or anything else, any dish that you want to add them to. You can also keep them in the fridge for a couple of months if you put them in a closed Ziploc bag, plastic bag. And they would last a long time. And they're quite versatile, so don't throw away all of your trimmings and cuttings. So you can also look at the instructions on the website, but I will also walk you through what you need to do. We are going to cut the butternut squash in cubes, like about this big, like 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter. They are going to go together in a pot with the parsnip and with the sweet potato. So if you cut them a little bit smaller, then they will take much less time to soften. Okay, Sebastian is back from washing his green beans.
Yep, I washed the green beans and the tomatoes that I'm cutting. So first we have to trim the green beans, and that is done by cutting the one extreme and the other extreme of the green bean.
And like we said, your dish has a vegetarian variation, right?
Yes, it has a vegetarian variation, and for that we are using already pre-prepared chickpeas.
Mm-hmm.
So this,
So the canned ones.
yeah, the canned ones. So this one just goes straight into the pan when we are adding all the vegetables, actually.
Okay. And if you're using the dried chickpeas, you want to soak them overnight because that makes them much softer, and they already kind of expand by absorbing the water. So that makes it much easier for them to cook the next day. But you can also always buy the canned ones and save yourself the overnight soaking process.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Also, when I do these chickpeas, I also may soak them overnight. Yeah, also I think they taste better. Like, it's not that I've ever tried without soaking it, but
Thank you.
yeah.
So you can also take out the seeds of the butternut squash with a spoon. You just basically scrape it. I hope I'm not making it look too difficult. It is very doable. But like I said, the only thing you want to be careful about is that you don't cut yourself. And I think they also sell these cut and prepared. So if you really don't trust yourself with a knife, that's also perfectly fine. So Sebastian, where are you from? I know where are you from. I'm asking for the benefit of the students at home.
Well, I'm from Peru. So actually, yesterday was the first time that I cooked this dish.
Oh, okay. So you usually cook Peruvian dishes?
Well, not exactly. Just on special occasions, because Peruvian dishes are quite difficult to make. Well, a good part of them. And I think it's better to enjoy food with more company.
That's always true.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in these times, we haven't had a lot of company to enjoy food with, which is also part of the reason why we decided to throw this little online party. So we could spend just a little bit of time together with you, and we could cook, and we could eat, and have some fun, and hopefully reflect on this difficult year and start our new year with a fresh state of mind and hopefully some peace. Okay, that is a lot riding on this one night. It's also okay if you're just here to cook and to eat food. Perfectly fine.
So now I already trimmed the green beans and cut them in half. Well, we cut it in half because you don't want eat a big piece of this, actually. It's easier to eat. And now I'm cutting the tomatoes in small blocks. They are supposed to be 1 centimeter. I don't know exactly if this is 1 centimeter, but let's assume that it's 1 centimeter.
Where's your measuring tape?
Yeah, I don't have that one now. But so to cut them in small blocks, what I do is first cut them in half like this. And then 1/2 cut it in 2 stripes, well, cut 2 stripes vertically, and one kind of horizontally if you would, of course, assume that your tomato is a plane, which is not, but...
I think you can also use cherry tomatoes in your dish, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, oh yes, before we start cooking, there are some disclaimers that I want to make.
Okay.
This dish actually makes your kitchen smells very strong. So it is advised to open your windows.
Open your windows, open your doors, maybe turn on your fan. Not in the process of cutting them, but during the cooking, it is quite an aromatic dish. So you might want to let some ventilation happen in your kitchen. It is a very enjoyable smell, but if you're also drying your clothes nearby, maybe you want to move them.
Yeah, exactly. I had the opportunity to cook this yesterday also at home.
You have cheated.
Yes, I'm sorry. But yeah, well, so I cooked that yesterday evening, and today morning it was still the smell. So, by the way, my cook is really bad ventilated. My kitchen, sorry, it's very bad ventilated. So, yeah, that's a problem that you get.
What are you studying now, Sebastian?
Sorry?
What are you studying?
Oh,
what are you studying?
Yeah, well, I'm studying aerospace engineering.
Oh.
I'm doing my master's in space exploration now.
And how's that going?
Well, very intense, but very nice.
Intense. Have you met aliens?
Oh, no.
What's happening in a space exploration?
Well, yeah, it's just studying about the space in general.
Okay.
It's very nice. And what are you studying?
I'm studying engineering and policy analysis. It's more studying of human processes.
Nice.
And in the TPM faculty, I'm doing my master's. So as you can see, I have finished cutting my butternut squash, and now I'm going to move on to my sweet potatoes. And I have a washed one over here, and this one you can use a peeler. It has some nooks and crannies, but the peeler does a nice job of getting rid of the skin. And you can actually roast sweet potatoes with the skin on. In this particular dish, we are removing it because it's a Stan pot, and we're going to smash all of it together in same pot. So we don't really need the skin. But other than that, it's a delicious vegetable. And it cooks quite fast, much faster than regular potatoes, regular not sweet potatoes.
So I'm also here already done with the cutting. As you can see in small blocks, I cut the tomatoes, and in small stripes the green beans.
Nice. Ooh, thank you. Mario has already peeled my parsnip, but I'm sure you don't have a Mario at home, so you have to peel your own parsnips, I'm afraid.
Yes.
So we want to cut everything the same size so they would all cook the same size, the same time.
True.
It's kind of a one-pot dish. You will need later on to use an oven dish or your microwave oven if you do not have a complete oven. I'm gonna switch to a smaller knife. Maybe it would make less sound. Ah, yes, it does. Okay.
Okay. So apart from the tomatoes and the green beans, what we're also using is these potatoes that we also cut it in cubes. So these cubes are cut more or less in the same way as the tomatoes, just cut in half and then 3 cuts. The onions, yeah, we also have to cut them in small cubes. Yeah, well, over there you can use a similar technique, or there are other techniques that you can cut it in even smaller cubes. Depends on you. The garlic, though, it's one mystery. Like, well, there are many ways to cut it. Well, not mystery, but there are many ways to cut it.
Garlic is a mystery, everyone. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can cut it in small pieces, like
I actually do have a
longitudinally.
suggestion for the garlic. What do you do first with the
Well,
garlic?
honestly, what I would do, but I wouldn't recommend you if you are new to cooking, is put a knife on top of it and then smash it.
That's
well,
also
first
what I
peel
do.
it.
Yeah.
And then smash it, and then just cut it in small, very small pieces.
But you want to be very careful with that
Yes.
technique. You want to come down really hard on your knife and cut yourself. But yeah, that's basically an easy one. You cut the head of it a little bit, and then you put your knife and you put pressure on it. Do you want to demonstrate, Sebastian?
Yeah, well, I can do that. Well, Not with this knife, definitely. I wouldn't do it.
Would you like my big knife?
I need a big knife.
There you go.
Thanks.
You have big knife.
So to cut the garlic in these small pieces, what I would do is cut first the top and the bottom. And then it's easy to peel. Well, not that easy to peel.
It is easy to peel, he says. It is easier, I guess.
Yeah, it's easier. Still not the fastest thing in the world.
Well, you know, you can actually put, if you peel cloves of garlic and put them in an oven pan and cover them with olive oil and put them in the oven with 75 degrees centigrade for like 3 hours. It sounds a lot, I know, but it's a very low amount of heat. Then you can have such a really nice delicacy. Then when they come out, they're quite nice, and you can actually spread them on butter, and they don't make your breath smell either. I find that very nice.
Nice.
Okay, so I am done with cutting my butternut squash and my sweet potato and my parsnip. I'm going to hand them over to Mario so she could put them in a pot. And they need to be, the water has to cover the top of them, not too much water depending on the size of your pan. And you put the bouillon cube on inside the pan as well. Mario, would you do the honor, please? Thank you.
And I'm already done peeling the garlic. So what you do actually is just put a knife on top of it, and then with your fist, press a little bit, and
nice.
you get that sound.
Thank you.
And then here, just cut it in really small pieces.
Ah, very nicely done.
Of course, like Matab said, like being sure always that you put your fingers behind this knife.
Yes. Put the angle of the knife towards the cutting board and not towards your hand. So now I'm going to cut the onions, which is the next step for the butternut squash stamp pot. We only have one onion, but if you would like to add more, that is perfectly fine as well. In cooking, you can find substitutes for anything that the recipe says, really. If you have preference for a vegetable over the other, do that. It's perfectly fine. If you want more garlic, add more garlic. If you want more onions, add more onions. In this recipe, it tells us that the onions need to be in half circles, so that's what we're going to do. I cut them in half, and then I'm going to rest the knife against my knuckles again, and I'm going to make very small cuts, so they will come out as half circles.
With the roti, we are already ready. Well, we are already ready to going to cook everything actually. So as the non-vegetarian version of this dish has more steps, so because you have to first fry the chicken, we are going to cook the non-vegetarian version. So we can now start with this actually.
And I think Sarah already heated the pan, put some oil in it.
Yes.
So now you're going to, are you starting with the chicken or are you starting with the vegetables?
No, we are starting first with the chicken.
Okay.
And then we are adding the onions and the garlic. The chicken has to be cooked for around 3 minutes until it's kind of more or less fried. Then the garlic and the onion has to be cooked for around 1 minute. And then you put all the sauces, species, no,
Seasoning.
Seasoning.
Yes.
And the tomato sauce.
And this seasoning comes with a package that we gave the students, but if you didn't get the packages and you just bought your own ingredients from the store, any kind of seasoning that you usually use, salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, smoked paprika, anything that you usually use is perfectly fine.
Yes. So I will go to the pan now.
Okay. I hear some sizzling happening in the pan area. I am just now cutting my garlic finely. If I were home, I would use a bit more garlic, but this is what the recipe calls for, and I will stick to it because maybe you also just have one garlic, and that's what we are going to do. Okay. So the butternut squash and the sweet potatoes and the parsnip are already in the pot with a little bit of water and the bouillon cubes. And now we are going to saute the onion rings. And we just want them to get a little bit of golden and a little bit soft, but we don't want them to darken or burn. So you need to kind of be on top of it. Ah, yes, thank you. Is it hot? Ooh, nice sizzling. Thank you. All right. So, the next part of the dish for the butternut squash is preparing your oven part of it. So, I know my tray looks a little bit big, but it's because this is an industrial kitchen, so you probably have a much smaller one. You want to use something that's non-stick, but if you don't have that, you can also use parchment paper on the bottom of it. I'm going to lightly drizzle some oil.
They are open.
Thank you. The recipe says drizzle. I find it a bit of a vague measurement, but it basically means kind of cover lightly the bottom of your pan or oven dish. I'm also going to do this. So what you need is, thank you.
Welcome.
What you need is feta and your hazelnuts. So we want to cut the feta in rectangular strips. You want to make them thin, like this, and then transfer them to the tray. If feta is not your favorite cheese, you can also do this with mozzarella. It's basically going to be the garnish on top of the stampot. So what is happening at the stove?
Well, here we already put the chicken and we are cooking the garlic with the onions. This was 1 minute already, so we can put the tomato sauce and the seasoning powder here.
Oh, very nice.
For the seasoning powder, you can either use the whole bag or a small part of it. So I will use in this case the whole bag. Well, just to give it more flavor. Yeah, well, so we can start putting in.
So if you're not a fan of stronger flavors, you can just use half of the package of spices, or however much you think is enough for you. Okay, so after you are done cutting your feta cheese in rectangles, then you will get your package of hazelnuts. If you have whole hazelnuts, you need to crush them just a little bit. And then you sprinkle them on top of your feta cheese. Like this. Mario gave me 2 packages of hazelnuts, so I will use both of them.
Also 2 packages of feta.
There it is. Okay.
Well, here in the roti, we are actually using the whole the whole bag of tomato sauce. So this can take a while. So you might want to lower the heat.
Further down.
Lower the heat a little bit so you don't start burning the seasoning powder. Although you later will have to add water, so it will. You can take away all the burnt seasoning powder that can be in the pan. Yeah.
Okay, and here in this station, I also put the thyme on top of our mixture of feta and hazelnut, and now we'll go to hand it to Mario. You want your oven to be 180 degrees centigrade, and they will be there until the hazelnut is golden and kind of crunchy. You don't want it to burn, so kind of keep an eye on it. And if you have a microwave oven, you also want to just check what is the measurement conversion between the 180 in an electric oven and a microwave oven. Okay, so this was the cutting and putting together the part of the butternut squash. Now, while Sebastian is busy with his dish and Mario is sauteing the onions, I will start making some cocktails and mocktails, because we thought, of course, it's a party, so why not also mix some drinks together? I have not done this before, so bear with me, and you don't need any special mixing set. I will just do it with a knife and with the equipment that I have here. And if you do not drink alcohol, that's also perfectly fine. I've also prepared a couple of mocktail recipes, so no worries there. Okay, if I may ask Mario, please, could I have some crushed ice?
Crushed
some
ice.
lime. And some mint leaves.
Crushed ice.
Crushed ice, limes. Thank you. These
Mint
are our
leaves.
beautiful IP glasses. If you were with us last spring IP and the summer IP of 2019, we gave out these cups during the party, so people would reuse their cups and we could save a little bit of plastic cups from being used. Okay, so I also need some vodka and I need a sparkling water or tonic if you have. Yes, thank you so much.
There you go, Mario.
Okay, and I need the pitcher as well.
The pitcher.
Yes. Thank you. And a spoon.
Spoon. I have to check. Ah,
So, the first thing that I'm going to make is a cocktail. It is called mint and lime vodka cocktail. It is as described by the name. So, mint and lime vodka cocktail. We're going to cut the lime first. This is lime. It is green. It's a different color than limon, which is yellow. So I'm going to cut it in kind of circles, because what we are going to do is that we will put them in the bottom of our pitcher and we will crush them. And if you're by yourself and you don't want to make a whole pitcher, you can also do the same thing with a glass. I will use one lime for this pitcher, but if you're using one glass, then you want to just use half of it. Or if you're a fan of lime and sour things, all of it, that's also perfectly fine. Okay, and I will leave one of the lime circles for the garnishing on top.
meantime, we should not go out of.
And like I said, you don't need any fancy equipment or anything. Basically, we're just going to do this. Put our lime in the bottom
Ahead of time.
the pitcher. And we put everything except for that one circle that we left for garnishing on top. And I have mint leaves here. I'm also going to separate that and put that at the bottom.
5 minutes?
And you don't need the harshest stem of the mint leaves. A little bit of the top of it. I'm going to eyeball it a little bit, which I think is the fun of mixing drinks at home. You don't have to show off to anyone. Okay, and then we are going to add a little bit of lime juice. May I have some lime juice, please?
Maria.
And you can, if you have enough limes, I'm kind of saving them for my next cocktails and mocktails. But if you have enough lime, you also just want to use a little bit of fresh.
It's a tough one. It's
It is a tough one. Oh, okay. Well, while you're doing that, I will crush the mint leaves and the lime that I have at the bottom of this. You don't want to smash them into like a mush. You just want to bring out the flavor of both of them. So just with a spoon, or if you're fancy and you have a mixing set with one of those small smashers, just kind of try to break their molecules.
a few more minutes. I would
Just a little bit.
Put the hot plate here. Shall I bring this to the kitchen?
It smells amazing when you're trying to do that. Sebastian, do you have any updates in the meanwhile?
Well, I already add the sauce, the powder, That was where we stayed. So we already had the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the tomatoes, and the green beans have already boiled, so we have to boil them separately. And we already put them back together. So now what we are doing is just stirring it a little bit. You can also put a cap on it and or cover it with something and just let it cook a little bit. And we know that this is ready when we hit the potato with the with something actually.
You can poke it with a fork, I think.
Yeah, with a fork or with whatever. And if it starts breaking, then we know it's ready.
Okay.
Like as you can see now, like it's not breaking the potato when I hit them. So I think this has still a couple more minutes to go.
Okay, then back to the cocktail. I'm going to put some crushed ice into the mug. You can also use whole ice. We right now have crushed ice available. May I also have one more glass of crushed ice? I think it needs one more. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yes.
I think, by the way, the squash is ready to be rinsed.
Ah, is it? Okay, I will finish this cocktail and then we can rinse that.
Yeah.
I'm just mixing them a little bit so the ice also gets all the nicest smell of mint and lemon. So here's the part where you add the alcohol. If you do not want to add the alcohol, that's also fine. I have 2 mocktails coming up. I don't have a measuring cup, so I will just eyeball it. So.
Looking good?
It's a big pitcher that would give like 4 glasses. We'll add a little bit more.
Make that on 2, 3?
Yeah, that's good, I think.
Yeah.
You can always at home taste it. And I have a sparkling water to top it off.
Your hazelnuts are nicely browned.
And there we go. And then you want to gently stir the whole thing.
How many cups do you need?
2, I think. And do we have a sieve?
A what?
To prevent it from falling all into the...
Ooh, I don't know.
It's okay. We can also just leave it in the pitcher. And you would put one of this lime as a garnish. And this is our first cocktail. It was the mint, lime, and vodka cocktail. And it was super easy, and I hope it's delicious. And we will try it when the dinner is ready. Okay, so I will go back to check on the pot. I think Mario said that it's ready. I will put aside the cocktail for now. Sorry, Mario, I know that's heavy.
No.
Okay.
Where would you like to
You could
drain?
put it here.
Yeah?
That's okay, yeah. Thank
But
you.
it still needs to be drained.
Okay, so now everything is mushy and nice and soft. You want to drain it, but you want to keep the water because if when we are mashing it, it's not smooth enough, we can always add just a little bit of the water that we saved to make it smooth and nice. Should I?
Are you trying?
Yes, of
Okay.
course. Ooh,
Yeah?
it is a bit heavy, but I will do my best. Yes.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
I think it's good.
I think it's good too. Woo! Okay. And now you need something to smash this with.
Well,
Check your.
yeah, we are still not ready, but I can tell you a little bit about this dish.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the ingredients that you might have got, it says that it's for 4 portions or for 4 people. I mean, it's for 4 people usually, but if you are very hungry, it can be for free. But for 2, it's too much actually. I tried yesterday.
What if you're really, really hungry?
Still too much.
It can be too much, yeah.
We tried.
Yeah. And one thing that I also added is the bay leaf. Bay leaf, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I add that with the tomatoes, just to give it a little bit the smell of the bay leaf. But you have to be sure to take that out before eating. I mean, like you can eat it, but it's not so nice.
The same thing goes with the thyme that I use to garnish the feta and the hazelnuts, which actually reminds me, could you check on them?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Those are also not for eating afterwards. You just take them off, and they are to give aroma and to give taste to whatever it is that you are putting in the oven. They actually go very nicely with potatoes as well, if you like to put them in the oven and cook them. So if you're a potato fan, you also want to add thyme to the list of herbs. Oh, very nicely.
Well done.
So they did not burn. Yay! Success. So, if I were at home, I would use just a little bit of butter for my mashed combination. But here we also have creme fraiche. In the packages that we gave the students, this was already included, but if you did your shopping yourself, we needed 125 grams of creme fraiche, and don't do this motion, because then it will spill over your shirt.
You need a spoon?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So you add the creme fraiche to your mashed butternut squash, sweet potato, and parsnip. And this is also the time where you can add salt and pepper and any other spices that you usually use in your cooking. Sebastian, is there like a specific Peruvian herb?
Peruvian herb?
Yeah.
Wow, we have many actually, but depends on the region.
Okay.
But unfortunately not one that you can find it easily here. What I know that, what we can use as to give Peruvian more or less taste is by orange peppers, but the long ones, long orange peppers.
Oh, okay.
Those ones are usually a little bit spicy. You can take out the spice, the spicy flavor by taking the white part that is inside.
So if you remove the seeds like regular peppers, then it will not be so spicy.
Yeah, and usually what we do is boil them and mash it. So we have this mash paste, and with that we put a lot of taste to a lot of dishes. It's like the base of like 50% of the Peruvian dishes.
Wow.
It's very
so
nice.
Here I'm adding just a little bit of pepper, black pepper, and I am, again, eyeballing it. So just add as much as you want to taste, and also some salt.
Husband's growing the yellow ones from
Also, again, just I use just a spoon. But you can taste it, of course, and if it's not enough for you, you can always add more. You can't take back the salt and the pepper, but you can always add more. So it's a good idea to do it incrementally. Okay, and now we will also add our sautéed onions. And speaking of other spices, if I were home, I would also use turmeric. I basically use turmeric for all of my cooking. You can use it in sautéed onions, and they give a very nice color to the dish and are quite nice. And you combine your onions and the garlic that you also sautéed. Okay, this is ready now.
Still a bit hot.
And we also took out our feta and the hazelnuts from the oven as well. And I think I am ready to plate.
Yeah?
Wow, look at that.
We can have dinner.
We can have dinner. I hope that you cooked. Hopefully you're also here now if you cooked the butternut squash and also if you cooked the roti. So you're also ready. Of course, there's no rush. We'll be here I wanted to say all night, but that's not true. We'll be here for a little bit, but at this moment, there's no rush. So I will put the mashed potato first in this beautiful TU Delft plate. If you missed the campus, now is a good time to get a nice look at Paul's and at these plates.
We can put it in a plate already. We can put it in a plate already.
Yeah, put it on the corner.
I must admit, I am not the most talented plate setter, so this is a home-cooked dish. Take it as that. Okay. I also don't want to fill it up too much. If I would put this over here, thank you. And I will also add, oh, I also need another spoon, please.
Yeah. You want the small one or the big one?
Small one, thank you. So the hazelnut and the feta cheese are for the garnishing over the top of your mashed butternut squash dish. I will try to put them in a beautifully arranged way. But you know, I also like when food is messy. What it matters is that you took your time to make it and create it, and it's warm and it's filling. And hopefully you have a roommate, you have a friend with you that you can eat with. Ah, and here comes Sebastian with his dish.
Yep, it's already done. Yeah, well, as we are four just, we are just serving two dishes tonight.
Yeah.
The other ones, well, I don't know, we can eat it later.
So I will also make one of the mocktails. So we have 2 glasses for the cocktail and 2 glasses for the mocktail. Sebastian, could you give me orange juice and a syrup, please?
Sure.
And if the orange juice is not there, it is in one of the freezers.
This is a syrup, right?
This is the syrup, yes.
I've also got the desserts.
Oh, desserts, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I also need some crushed ice. In 1 glass, if you just give me some crushed ice, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, just fill it up, because I have to put it in 2 glasses. Thank you. Perfect. So I'm going to make the sunrise mocktail. So this one doesn't have any alcohol. What we're going to do is orange juice. Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to add the crushed ice first. Woo. I have to use one of the spoons. I will steal it from the dessert one.
I will.
Okay.
Okay. And then you want to add some orange juice, but you don't want to fill it up all the way because we have other things to add to it as well. So halfway. And I hope the sunrise thing works out, but if it doesn't, well, we did our best. Okay, and also sparkling water, if you see it over there. Sparkling water, the water, yes, thank you. Thanks. And a little bit of a sparkling water. And again, you want to leave just a bit on the top. Okay. And now is the time to see if this will work. We are all waiting with bated breath. Hey, would you look at that?
So much chemistry in there.
There it is. And again, I will top it off with just a bit more of this. And that is our sunrise mocktail. Whew. And I think we are ready to serve.
Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
Let's go.
Let's have some food.
Let's have some food.
Who's having the pumpkin?
I think I will have the pumpkin,
Me too.
considering I'm vegetarian and the other dish is with chicken. Yeah, go. Oh, I have to take my phone.
Taking a mocktail.
This is a cozy little place to be in.
It is. And it's not so little.
No, but we had to keep the 1.5 meter distance as well.
Yes. If you could hand this to Sebastian. And here's the cocktail.
I'm not having a cocktail, my dear.
Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty to be on the table.
Yeah.
All right, so I hope that all of you also finished preparing your food. I was thinking maybe we could say like a toast before we start eating.
Yeah? Why not?
Who would like to start?
I'll start. May 2021 be
That's the
better
good
than
one.
2020 was. Hopefully we can do a full week of summer IP. Hopefully we can go out and about and eat in restaurants again. Fingers are crossed. Otherwise, this was a very interesting year to join the IP. I started in March. And 2 weeks later, we got sent home. So this is my IP that I know. Okay,
Well, we are happy to have you,
thank you.
even if it wasn't what you expected.
It wasn't quite what I signed up for.
I think you spent about like a week at the office in
2 weeks.
total.
And I got to know everybody very, very well over Zoom and Teams and WhatsApp and all the digital tools. And we did have a summer IP abbreviated, which many of you attended, and we loved having you there, and we're glad to be able to do something like this now.
Wow, that was very nice.
No, thank you.
Sebastian, would you like to go next?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I've never made a toast. Of course, I'm not so good at this, but so yeah, I'm also looking forward that the next year will be better than this one. Of course, like if you see it as a student who just started your studies, it might be a little bit difficult, but yeah, well, hopefully things get better and we can start seeing each other with more freedom now.
Yeah, it was a strange year. Normally I have a very
Take it
different
mildly.
introduction program, being on the run, on the campus with about 1,200 to 1,600 new students. And now we had to be mostly online. So that was a twist for me as well. But I'm really glad you came. Also, in this strange situation where you might be online 24/7. And we hope that you do have the same experience as a student studying at TU Delft in the coming year, and see you on campus.
Okay, wow, those were very nice toasts. I think I would also like to give a toast to students and to just people, because despite of everything and despite how difficult this year has been and so much grief and so much sadness, people will still continue to care for each other, to love each other. And I think, where else in the universe would we find such spirit of resistance? So I would like to give a toast to people.
Cheers.
Roast and cheers. I would like to taste this because I want to know.
No clue. But enjoy your dinner.
Enjoy.
Enjoy and eat smakelijk. And bon appetit. Wow. Okay, it's not bad.
No,
Even though I eyeballed the vodka, it's not so much.
no, true. It's also not so sour as I expected.
True, yeah. How is your...
It's lovely.
It is? It
Yes.
is? Okay.
Strawberry orange and slightly fizzy.
I am happy that cameras are here, so...
But now we have to
have
eat in front of the camera.
Now we have to eat in front of the cameras, which is... Yeah, I would like to taste what this is like.
It's quite nice.
It is nice, yeah.
I'm not a vegetarian, but I was looking forward to have this meal instead of a roti, because roti is something you would have had before, but this is kind of new to me. It's nice.
I'm a flexitarian.
What is that?
That is a 95% of the time I don't eat meat, but when I do, I try to make sure it's really good. So I went for the chicken this time.
Very nice indeed.
So what else do we have on the menu for tonight?
Ooh, on the menu tonight. We will shortly, I have to check my watch. In some minutes we will be joined by a guest and we will get to ask some questions about food, which I thought would be topical since we made food.
We're doing a cooking workshop.
We did in a cooking, we started with a cooking workshop. And afterwards we will go to do a very nice quiz that everyone can participate, and the top 3 participants will get gifts. And virtual gifts. I mean, they could be turned into real gifts. What I mean is that it would be virtually delivered to them. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think Sebastian made some interesting games for us to play.
Sebastian's mouth is full.
Hey, you have to suffer. We all have to eat in front of the camera. It is odd. I honestly don't know how mukbang people do this all the time. Maybe I have developed an appreciation for the craft that goes into eating in front of the camera.
I'm really curious what it looks like. Luckily, we're not seeing it ourselves.
I'm trying not to think about it.
Please don't tell us. We don't want to know.
Well, I prepare some Pictionary games, online Pictionary. We will send the link later when we are done now. And yeah, well, mostly that. Like, let's hope that rooms will get filled so we can have a nice time together.
It's really, really hilarious. We did a trial run. And we were all working from home, but we could hear each other giggling and snickering through trying to draw our pictures. And it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be going into it.
It was also fun because we're so fanatic.
I think it was also turned into sort of a team building experience, because usually before each program we get together as a team to, build up a spirit and get to know each other better, even though some members of the team have been there longer, some shorter. So it's just a nice way of touching base and to get to know everyone and to get to see what makes them tick and what makes them excited. So this one was like, when we did a trial run, it was very exciting. And also the quiz has very funny questions. I know that you think, we designed the quiz, so we know all the answers. I will not participate because I did design the quiz, and with my colleague Manang, who's not with us, but in his spirit he is.
Special shout out to Manang, who should be watching.
And Alejandra, who should also be watching.
They said
if you see any graphics during the show, it is Alejandra's work. And also on our social media, it's always she's designing things and sending it to us, and our t-shirts and everything. Also, I wonder if you recognize the t-shirts that we are wearing, because it is from the summer. I know that not all of you got to come to the campus and see us, but these were the things that we wore. So I was curious, if tomorrow, you could be vaccinated or everything was good and back to normal, what would you do first? Like on your first day of freedom?
Cocktails.
Cocktail.
I have not made myself.
I just made one.
And I'm not going to say where, but somewhere in The Hague has €5 cocktail night on Wednesday.
Oh, you must tell us. I mean, not now.
And they're very, very good. So yeah, cocktails.
Okay.
The falafel place in the center of The Hague.
So
Bubble
just
tea.
The Hague, basically.
Yeah, just The Hague, basically. Wander around the center, drink my cocktails, go have a bubble tea, grab some falafels, head off somewhere else for dinner. I've missed restaurants.
I think one of the most thing I missed is hugging people.
Yes.
My sister and her daughters, which grew up with me as well, they sometimes come by because they also want to see us and we're some kind of in their bubble. But you don't hug anymore. Also within our team, it's a very international team, and we hug when we greet each other instead of shaking hands or just saying hi, coming to the office.
My first day, Mario took me around and I saw a colleague I had worked with at my previous job who now works at the TU. And she and I were heading toward each other going, it's so great to see you. And Mario's in the background going, no hugging, no hugging, no hugging.
Me and my friends have developed a seal hug, where we see each other and from afar we just do the flapping thing. But I think you're right, just not even like the intentional, going for a hug or anything, just the casualness of touch, because it happens and you bump into people and stuff like that. But that also hasn't happened to me at all.
On the other hand, I don't mind the masks because they made allergy season a lot easier this year.
True.
So I may just continue wearing them through the spring regardless of if I'm vaccinated or not.
And this winter season, I didn't even catch a cold. So there is something to it. Knock on wood.
Staying away from people helped with the bugs.
Yes.
It did. I think I also miss cinema. I even miss the overpriced popcorn. I miss the collective gasps during the exciting moments of the movie. I miss the fidgeting of someone right next to me, which would annoy me, and I think it would still do when we get back to it, but I miss it. What about you, Sebastian?
I would say I miss going to the library, to be honest.
A true student.
The true student.
And meet with friends over there, like miss also, the dream teams I was part of there in Delft Space Rocket Engineering. So that was a really nice experience. Yep.
So someone said in my earpiece, I'm kidding, I don't have an earpiece. But I think we will be joined by our guest soon. That's very exciting.
He's live.
He's alive. He's live. Not his life. He's also alive.
That was not what I was saying.
But he's live. Well, great. Let's go to our guest. Yes. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Bart. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Would you please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners?
Of course. My name is Bart van Leeuwen. I work as a dietitian in the Maastad Hospital in Rotterdam in the nephrology and geriatrics division. And I was asked to tell you something about food.
Yes, that's true. Because we did a cooking workshop for our program, then I thought maybe it's a good idea to ask a professional something about food, because I know that some students are very happy with their diet of noodles and chips and energy drinks. But I was wondering, what else is out there? What are we supposed to eat, in fact?
Well, if you look at food, there are some things, like some general rules that you always want to follow. Rule number 1, foods that are high calorie, low nutritional value, that's not what you want. And the things that you just described, so the ramen noodles, the chips, crisps, sodas, chocolate, stuff like that, not the best choices.
Okay.
However, there are very easy changes to make in your diet that can actually improve, well, your entire diet.
Okay, so I know that some of us have seen the pyramid of the food groups. Could you maybe give us some tips of how to add some of those groups into our daily food? Like, are we supposed to have all of them at once every day, like the dairy and the carbs and the, what else is there, vegetable and protein there? Are we supposed to do that every day, or how do we like portion it per month or per year?
Yeah. All right. So something you should all know, the food pyramid is not what we use in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, we use the schijf van 5, which is like the disc, and there are certain compartments within it. Some general rules apply. Water is always a good option. So whatever you want to drink, you can replace it with water, which is always a good choice. It's also very cheap. Very important for students.
And here we can drink tap water, which is great.
Yeah, Dutch tap water is perfectly fine. You can drink that anytime. Other general rules, you want to get about 200 grams of vegetables each day.
Okay.
Carbs are not the enemy. Some people think so on the internet, but they are actually quite useful. They are basically the fuel that runs our central nervous system. So you kind of need those.
So bread is okay.
Bread is fine.
Bread is
Sure.
fine. Bread is fine. Pasta is fine. Rice is fine.
Like one little addition. You know the labels, they always say how much fiber is in bread.
Yeah.
You really want to get a bread with about 4 grams of fiber per 100 grams.
Oh, okay.
Or more.
4 grams of fiber per 100 grams.
Yeah. So if you find one with 8, great, go for it.
Okay.
You'll feel very full, and you won't have to eat as much to feel full.
Okay.
So that's always a good idea. Same goes for vegetables. They are also carbs, but like low-calorie carbs. Very full. And well, what I said, we recommend about 200 to 250 grams of each day. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen 200 grams of beans on your plate, but it's a mountain that goes like...
That is a lot of beans, yes.
That is a lot of vegetables. So I would recommend adding them to your lunch. Like the bell peppers, you can easily cut those up.
Okay.
Especially the red ones, because they're quite sweet. Or if you're more into bitter foods, you can take the green ones. And they are quite tasty, and they add a lot of fiber as well. So they will keep you feeling full. During the morning, I would always recommend using some kind of dairy or dairy-like product. So if it's soy or if it's vegan, that's fine as well. Just to get those proteins in the morning, because your body needs those to sustain your muscle mass.
Oh, so dairy also has protein?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Dairy is a very big source of protein. That's why we always recommend people to eat dairy or dairy-like products.
Okay. So if you even substitute it with almond milk or soy milk or coconut milk, all of that also still has the protein that you need.
Well, I would have to check the label, because sometimes they filter stuff like that out.
Yes.
And you really do have to check if it's in there. Same goes for calcium. Dairy products naturally come with calcium, and soy milk, almond milk, stuff like that sometimes doesn't have any calcium, and then you're missing those nutritional values. So always check if that's in there. I'm not sure if I can do any recommendations for specific products, but I usually use the unsweetened versions from Albert Heijn.
Oh, okay.
They're like €1.09 for a liter, and they are pretty much guaranteed to be good.
That sounds like a good price. And what is your stance on supplements? The vitamins and the supplements?
Okay. So seeing as we're at a very high altitude on the planet, so you have like the latitudes, I would recommend everybody in the Netherlands to take about 10 micrograms of vitamin D every day.
Okay.
Except if you're a person over 70 when you're male or over 50 when you're female, then you need 20. And it counts extra for people with darker skin or who cover their heads, arms, and hands with pieces of clothing, as we all get too little sunshine to produce the vitamin D ourselves.
Yes, that's true.
So that's one you need. Vitamin C is one you need because we cannot produce it ourselves, actually. I wouldn't take a supplement. I would just eat an orange or a mandarin or a tangerine.
Okay. And what about B12? Because that's also one of the things that's it's talked about a lot. And do we get that from any vegetables or other sources of food, or do we have to supplement that one?
Now, vitamin B12 is only in animal products, so meats, a few kinds of cheese, eggs. And if you don't eat those regularly, and by regularly I mean like if you don't eat meat 3 times a week, you probably need a supplement.
Okay.
But you can easily check that at your huisarts by getting a blood test to see if your levels are okay.
Since we're mostly vegetarian, we talk to our house arts, and you can get enough B12. Most of the meat replacements are enriched with B12 to make sure you get it.
And those are the beans and lentils and...
No, the actual patties. the meat
actual patties.
replacement patties.
Okay, all right.
You have this wonderful aisle in the supermarket with vegetarian meat, and they usually add B12. Same goes for the soy milk I just named. It also comes with B12 in it.
Okay. So since
lentils and stuff like that are actually a great source of protein as well if you want to go more into like vegetarian lifestyle, because they can easily replace every kind of meat. Just mix it up. You know, you can do chickpeas, you can do kidney beans, you can do lentils, and if you mix those up regularly, then you get all your necessary proteins from that.
Wow, very nice. So I know that it's been a bit of a difficult year for everyone. So stress levels are a bit high, I think that's fair to say, and anxieties are everywhere. Is there a relationship between the food that we eat and the amount of anxiety and stress that we might feel? Are there some foods that we could eat on the days that we don't feel quite like ourselves?
That aren't chocolate.
That aren't chocolate and ice cream?
Always bringing up the chocolate. No, if you feel more stressed, the thing you're probably going to notice is that you're going to go for high calorie, low nutritional value foods.
Yes.
For example, chocolate. The thing you want to do is make sure that you eat enough healthy food next to supplements like that. So if your basic nutrition is okay, then eating a piece of chocolate in winter, nobody's going to mind.
Okay.
Especially in this holiday season.
One piece of chocolate the whole winter? That is not going to cut it.
Well,
how big a piece are we talking here?
That would really depend on what you're eating next to it and what your goals are with your body. Because, I mean, if you want to gain a lot of weight, go crazy. Eat all the chocolate bars. If you don't, maybe like 1 or 2 pieces a day, just on the moments where you're feeling really down, just for the little pick-me-up. Because the thing I would worry about as a dietitian is people using food as a comfort and then eating the wrong kinds of food for a comfort. Because whenever I do feel stressed, I usually just eat a piece of bread with some peanut butter.
Okay.
Because at least it has nutritional value. And then I still get the sensation of eating and feeling good because there's food in my stomach. And I don't have to feel bad about it afterwards because I know it had some nutritional value to me as well.
Okay. Oh, that is very interesting. And it is true what they say about drinking water, because there's a lot of numbers thrown around, like the 8 glasses of water or 5 liters, and now there's those very huge, like bottled waters that have the, by 8 o'clock you should have drink this much, that much. how much should we listen to our intuition in terms of thirst?
Well, that's actually a good point, because most people do have a drinking reflex where they feel like, I maybe should drink something, but that can get a little disturbed where you don't drink enough anymore.
Okay.
And then a rule like 8 glasses of water a day can actually help you to drink more. The thing I do, I have this little app on my watch that tells me every 1.5 hours, maybe you should drink something. And then it doesn't really matter what I drink or how much. But I just remind myself that way, oh, right, I need to drink sometimes. Because working in the hospital, I can be a patient and be there for like hours on end. And then I'm like, oh, right, I should probably drink something before I dehydrate.
Okay. And is it true that if you're drinking more coffee, you should also drink more water next to it?
Well, as a general rule, I would recommend not drinking more than 4 cups of coffee a day.
Okay.
Ideally, not more than 2, which I know in education is ridiculous. And for students, I would add energy drinks are not the best as well, as they generally rot your teeth out in like 15 minutes. So great stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good. But the thing with coffee is it's a slight dehydrant, so you can drink a little more. Actually, in Italy, it's customary to drink a little bit of water with your coffee.
Okay, just like next to it, so it balances out. And what about tea? Does that count as your water intake, or does that count as caffeine?
That's a good question. There are some kinds of tea that are more dehydrating. I would have to look up the names of the products in English, but zoethout is usually a dehydrant.
Okay.
But tea usually is fine.
All right. Well, that was very informative. Thank you so much. Is there something you would like to say to us and to the students?
Ooh, if I had to pick anything at all, don't be afraid of pre-cut vegetables. They're usually very good.
Okay.
Frozen vegetables are oftentimes just as good as fresh ones, sometimes even better. And they're cheaper. Very important. And if ever you have a question, just visit a dietitian, because that's what we do. Okay. We answer questions about food.
That's great to know. That's actually quite easy, but I think we don't really run to like a nutritionist if we have a question, and I think we should. Now, this was really great. Do you have any questions, Sarah or Sebastian?
No.
Thank you so much, Bart, for joining us, and good luck with everything, and Happy New Year as well to you and your family, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Oh, okay. That was quite nice, I think. Right. But I think the food that we prepared today was actually not a bad example. With the roti with chicken option, when we wanted to go vegan, we substituted with the chickpeas. And this one is also all sorts of very nice vegetables and nuts and feta, which is a dairy. So I'm actually quite pleased with what they did. And don't pay attention to the fact that I haven't finished my food because I was doing the interview. Okay, so I hope if you, all the students at home, if you have finished your food, if you're still, working on it, I think we can go ahead and play the quiz. Yes. Shall we? Yes, we are beginning. Woohoo! Did you like that? Was that fun?
Very fun.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! See you on campus! Hopefully.